at work.
Yeah, I'm a stalker.
Do it.
Hey, what's up, guys? AceTech here. Today we're going to be doing the Beef Brigade Gamers Podcast number 5. And this week, Halo 5 just came out, so we're pretty much going to talk about that.
Woo!
All right. So we got the usuals here. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Beef Brigade or Beef Legend.
All right, hey guys, what's up? It's Matthew here, founder of Beef Brigade Studios, and we are very excited to talk about Halo 5. Yeah, let's do it.
What's up, guys? Mitch Extran, you already know it. Drinking Monster, got a rec pack today. Haven't opened it yet, hope it's good, but we'll get on to that when we talk about Halo 5. So let's do it. Let's get at it. Let's fuck it.
All right. So it's been out for a couple days. How you guys liking it so far? What were your first initial thoughts?
My initial thoughts on the game, when I started playing the single player first. It's the thing I always go for first. I know there's a lot of players that don't care about the single player and go immediately for the multiplayer, but my first impressions on the game, it looks incredible. So I'm playing it, we go to the main menu, and Mitch, what's the first thing we hear? What is the first thing we hear? Yeah.
The coveted Halo 3 theme music that everybody loves and ejaculates over.
Yeah, it's one of the most iconic songs of the Halo franchise. It's probably the most iconic besides Never Forget.
Yeah, I remember that from playing all those years back, man.
Yeah, and
one of the things I do remember.
I would go as far as to say it's one of the most iconic tracks in video game history. I mean, like, people just know that track from Halo. Halo 3 is such a coveted game that, you know, people just know that and they love it. And
yeah, the music and the loading screens is two things that I can say that I really remember from Halo.
Yeah, the one thing I will say though is that Halo 5's main menu is kind of lackluster. I mean, there's not much variety in it. It's just like it's campaign, multiplayer, and then what's the other one?
Yeah, it's really like simplistic and it doesn't like utilize the whole screen. But I mean, I think they try to keep it simple and not try to make it like overly complicated. But it is kind of like boring almost.
Yeah, it's kind of cool looking because it's like in outer space, but it's very lackluster.
Anyway, back to the game. Matt got a copy before me because I got screwed by Microsoft and didn't get my copy early. But
yeah,
we were playing and we were commentating, and those are all up on YouTube right now. But it was really fun when we were watching it, and we were all excited about it, and it looked great going in.
And by the way, you can find all the mission gameplay videos on Beef Brigade Studios channel on YouTube. We commentated all the way through. Mitch and Jacob were there up until mission 5, and then after that it's just me, and I get to focus in a lot more. But anyway, you can find those on our channel.
Yeah, the first 5, we don't really talk much about the game. It's more just like random nonsense while we're playing and just kind of enjoying it. And then the next 3, Matt gets more into the actual gameplay and the story and the directions you think it's going and how he's liking it and stuff. So if you want like a more detailed approach at what happens in the campaign, watch those later ones. But other ones just kind of fun, messing around, enjoying the game. It was the launch night, so we were kind of all hyped up for it.
Oh yeah, the first 5 minutes of the game are really amazing. Like that first mission of the game, I probably would say is one of the most memorable missions in a Halo game. It's action packed all the way through. There's no really slow moments through that mission.
No, and they don't take any time to explain anything or any characters. They just throw you right into the action, and that's another aspect where people don't like it, is that they didn't spend much time developing the new characters like they should have. They kind of just throw them at you without giving you much. Right,
and it is kind of a high note. Like when you start off a game like that, where you throw people right into the action, you're telling them, okay, this is it. This is big. When your game starts slowing down and you're not building anything up, you're not giving them those impactful moments like we've had in the past Halo games, then you're just kind of dicking around with them. And Mitch, you know about this, but all the media sites were basically reporting before the game came out that the marketing campaign for Halo 5 was basically it basically lied to us. And that's actually kind of true. If you play the game, the main storyline is not the storyline that they actually marketed in the ad campaigns. The one that they marketed is actually a subplot in the game.
Yeah, what they highlighted something that isn't like they highlighted something in the market campaign that they don't just like talk about in the actual game. It's more like a smaller. They always talk about the conflict between Locke and Master Chief, but that's not really. It's there and you can feel it, but it's not at the forefront like they made it seem it would be.
Right, and the game actually has nothing to do with Master Chief's past. It really doesn't have anything to do with Master Chief at all, to be honest. He's only in 3 missions in the game, 3 or 4.
Yeah, and it's almost like they wanted to do it, but then like, oh, we have to make another game, so let's build as close as we can, and then maybe hopefully the 6th game is going to be about him. But they didn't really talk much about him. They started to build, and they did like there was some foreshadowing, and it wasn't the same Master Chief as other games, but they didn't really do much telling who he is still. He's still kind of unknown in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely that. He's the most distant, the most far off in this game than he's ever been before. You don't feel closer to him. I don't feel closer to him. I actually kind of felt like they didn't do a good job at making us feel with him. I think Halo 4 did a very good job of this, actually investing ourselves in Cortana and Master Chief. In this game, I had a very hard time with investing myself in any of the characters.
I think they got too, they concentrated too much on building up Locke as this new character, and forgot that Master Chief is the one that everybody really cares about. Like, Locke was cool. He's a cool character. I liked him in the game, but they spent too much time on him and not enough with Master Chief, who everybody really wants to see in the game.
Right.
But I did like how they made Master Chief a badass in this game. Like, he doesn't listen to orders. He's like, yeah, screw it, whatever. It was really cool because he just did whatever he wanted. He's like, well, I'm Master Chief. What are you going to do about it, you know?
And one of the things, they turned him into more of a reckless rogue rather than before he was just the skilled, I've got a plan kind of guy. Now it's just like he's just doing whatever the hell he wants. It doesn't exactly fit with the character that we grew up with in the original trilogy of Halo. Halo 4, you still feel like he's still Master Chief, but you got a more open experience about him. In this game, he just feels very different. He just kind of seems. There's even a scene in the game where he just kind of comes across as a douche in a sort of a way. And Mitch, you know what scene I'm talking about, and it's the scene where Locke and Master Chief finally meet, and that honestly is the most memorable scene in the entire game. It was absolutely awesome. It was
that fight was perfectly done. It was the coolest fight I've ever seen in a game in a while, and it was perfect the way they had it. And they could have had Master Chief just kick the crap out of him, but it was a somewhat fair fight. Like, Locke put up a fight, and I mean, Master Chief still won, but it was still an awesome fight. Choreographed, the cinematography on it was great.
Yeah, I mean, that first shot where he like the first blow is one of the best like hits I've ever seen in a cinematic. I mean, he takes Locke is going up to him with a BR. He's like basically point blank, and Master Chief just turns around, takes the BR out of it, and just cracks it over his head and breaks the BR and just kicks him on his ass.
Yeah, and it's so awesome because while they're fighting, and then Locke shatters his visor, and you get that like, oh shit feeling. You didn't just do that. And then Master Chief just beats the shit out of him, and then they're fighting over the armor lock thing, and you don't know who's gonna win, and then Master Chief gets on in the last second just as Locke draws his pistol to shoot. It's so cool because it's just in the nick of time. It was really suspenseful for the game.
Yeah, that was a really good scene. Now let's talk about the villains a little bit. There are two. We're not going to talk about one of them because I don't know how many people have played it. So let's keep that one out of it. But let's take a look at the first villain of the game. And Mitch, it's the Warden Eternal, which we saw a little bit of gameplay from him from some of the trailers. And what do you think of him? I never really asked you.
I like him. I got a very Didact feel from him. It's like they almost recycled that kind of character again, but he was still pretty awesome. And
you want to know what I got from him?
What?
The Prophet of Truth from Halo 2. I got that sort of a religious, like he's infatuated with his cause, with this idol that he doesn't fully understand or something like that. Like, he's fighting for a cause just for the sake of just doing it. And this time the villains feel a lot more like that Covenant religious sort of they're very cause driven. Like, they're more like they have this strong belief that they're fighting for it, even if it's very arbitrary and very convoluted. But they believe in it, and it makes them kind of menacing.
And the one thing that in this game that's different is like the villains or the antagonists they don't appear as often in the game. They're kind of like they'll just show up and then be gone for a while and then come back. There isn't always the presence of them being in the game like there's a threat. It's almost like you fight these enemies and then there's the villain and then you kind of fight more enemies and there's a villain.
I agree with that and I disagree. I feel that in all the other Halo games, like in Halo 4, the Didac wasn't really in that game all that much, but you felt his presence and you heard his voice a lot. But there's really only 2 or 3 missions in the game where you actually see him. But you feel his presence. You feel his power. And in this game, now, Mitch, what mission are you on?
I'm on mission 8, but I haven't finished it yet.
Okay, dude, you don't have any idea. You're about to get a shitload of the antagonists. The antagonists from here on are basically in every single mission. There are actually like 3 or 4 more fights with the Warden Eternal.
My question is...
They're recycled. They're basically the same fight over and over again.
My question is, what is the point of Governor Sloan's character? He didn't seem like... They seem to kind of build him up. Does he come later on?
He does. He kind of comes back. You'll find out by the end of the story what the main antagonist is kind of up to.
Because they kind of build him up in the start, and then they never seem to really come back to him. Like the first couple missions, it's kind of there when you're on Meridian, and then they're just never.
Right. When you finish the game, I think you'll understand what I mean when I said that this game is like very much like the Covenant, like very religious and cause heavy. Like these people who believe in this cause, but you don't really understand why, and you feel like they don't really understand why. They're just doing it because they have this faithful idea that just enamors them.
One thing I do want to talk about is the Guardians. They're so cool looking. They're the coolest thing I've ever seen in Halo so far. They're massive.
Mitch, do you know what they are now, though?
No. Well, kind of.
All right, let's not go into any serious spoiler stuff, but
Oh, well, it's not really all that much of a spoilerish sort of a thing. We know, if I explain it to him, it's basically already explained in Halo 4. I mean, this is only like a minor spoiler if I can just give it away. Do you mind if I do it?
I know, it's all right with me, but you do have a review coming up, so don't want to spoil everything for the review.
Yeah, true. Okay, so the Guardians, they're the police force for they were the police force for the Forerunners to uphold the mantle of responsibility. It was basically their way of keeping the lesser races in check.
Yeah. Which I kind of understood is they're kind of like the protectors of the Forerunners, but they're the coolest thing I've ever seen in a Halo game. They're massive and they're scary and they're just the coolest thing I've ever seen in the game. I thought Scare was really the coolest thing, but then they introduced these, and I was just like, nope, that's the best thing ever.
Oh yeah, the Guardians are so freaking awesome. But one of the things that I kind of noticed is that they're all cycled of the same version, and they're not the same version we saw in that very, very first trailer for Halo 5 back a few years ago, where Master Chief is wearing that hood. In fact, nothing in that trailer actually stayed except for the cracked visor.
And I don't know what their plan was with the marketing, but it just seems like everything they advertised had nothing to do with anything in the game, really. Yeah, the whole Hunt the Truth thing, if you know anything about Hunt the Truth, it actually has nothing to do with the game. I feel like that was just some weird marketing scheme where they're just like, you know what, let's build all this hype and get people interested to buy the game and then let them down when they play the game or something. Yeah, Halo 5 is very money-oriented. You feel like the only reason they made this game is just to milk the cash cow as much as possible. Well, hopefully they're milking it so they can make Halo 6 awesome. I hope they do because, Mitch, I mean, I will tell you this. I was right. I called it. I did call it, and I said it a bunch of times. My worry about this game actually did happen, although I'm not as entirely pissed as I was. Because I do like the game. I do think it's a good game. I just don't think it's a great game. All right. So my second question was going to be, how does this game hold up against the other Halo games? In terms of story, or yeah, let's just talk about the campaign for right now. The campaign, it's not as story-oriented. Like there is story aspects, but it isn't. It's not linear. It's not a linear storyline. No.
It's very sideways. It's like a flash sideways in a lot of times.
I don't. It's weird because there is a lot of story but it's hard to explain. There isn't a sensical way that they go about delivering the story. And there's some missions where, like, there's one mission that's kind of pointless. I think it's the fourth one.
There are 3 missions in the game where they're just like 2 minutes long, and you're just walking around doing nothing. Like,
I don't know
really
why.
Only, like, missions long.
Because, like, in the 4th mission, I'm ready, and all you do is you go and listen to 2 different, like, accounts of an event that happened, and that's it. That's the end of the mission. And they could have. I don't even know why they put it in there. I guess it's cool if you want to get the RPG kind of feel, but it didn't fit well.
Yeah, it would have been a lot better if they had those that information delivered in a cutscene.
And like a flashback cutscene that showed what happened with the voiceover of them describing it or something, or like.
Yeah, like it's just a mission where you go up, press a button, and hear somebody talk, and they're just kind of like standing there talking like a robot, basically, like bad.
It's not very good voice acting either. It's almost like they put it in there so they could say that they had 3 more missions than they actually did.
Yeah, it was a way of the marketing the fact that, oh, this is the longest Halo game ever. We have the most. It has the most missions ever.
Albeit the story isn't bad. It's still interesting. It's cool, but it's not like the other Halo games. It's very different. And it's a lot more like clearing levels, running, killing enemies, and less story.
It doesn't have as much variety. Every single mission is, besides those 3 pointless missions, every mission is go in, kill enemies, get to the end of the mission.
Now, the one thing that's completely different from the Halo game is the amount of enemies that you fight in this campaign. Like, it's doubled or tripled in some cases. The amount of enemies they pack into each level is ridiculous.
That's a lot. But one of the things that really helps with the game is the mechanics. The game mechanics just work so perfectly for it.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, the mechanics and the adding of the the squad aspect is very cool because it's not overdone like in Ghost Recon where you have to micromanage every single one of your AI followers, but also you can still kind of direct them, like you can tell them what to shoot at, you can place them in places, but you don't have to constantly micromanage them. They can fight for themselves and they can do things without you having to worry about them. So if you like micromanaging, there is some of those aspects where you can do that, but also if you don't have to do that anything at all if you don't want to. So it's a good mix.
Right. There's only a few parts in the entire game, just like a couple times where you really need to use it. But other than that, I went through the entire game and I never really used the whole squad command things because they can handle themselves and you don't really need it.
I also like how they added the revive aspect, so when you die, you don't just lose. If you go to the checkpoint, you can get revived, maybe, by a teammate if they make it to you. So there's less loading if you mess up on if you die early in a mission, you can still have a chance of continuing to play without having to restart.
Yep.
And also, they added another function where I don't know what button it was, but it like projects this blue sphere around you, and then it identifies all the weapons on the ground, so they're easier to find.
Oh yeah.
And it's also a radar aspect, I think.
I forgot what button that was too. Because
anywhere in this radius, it'll just highlight the weapons in blue, which is kind of cool. It's easier to find.
Yeah.
All of the new weapons are sweet too.
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing. The weapons that were kind of okayish and mediocre and kind of shitty in Halo 4 are a hell of a lot better and useful. Like the bolt shot is so good. The suppressor, so good. But those shotguns are shit in this game. They're the worst shotguns I've ever played in a Halo game.
The shotguns have been like nerfed, and they're slowed down. They don't shoot as fast.
There's no fire rate on them.
And they all seem to do the same amount of damage, but shoot slower. So they're actually worse because if they would have dealt more damage and shot slower, then it would have been more fair. But they shoot slow, don't do a lot of damage. You have to be like a foot away from any enemy to kill them in one shot, so they're kind of pointless, in a sense.
Right.
But what was
it? Some of the new weapons in the game are incredible.
Oh yeah, that's what I want to say. Is they did add the aim down the sights, but the coolest thing is that every single weapon has a different way of aiming, which is the coolest thing. They're not all the same. Every weapon has its own unique way of aiming, which is cool because they didn't just recycle the same aspect. Everyone aims a little different, and it's very cool because every gun feels different when you aim.
Yeah, that's a question I had as well. Like, how does it change the game? Because I know the older Halo games that didn't have ADS, so.
At beta, okay. Here's the first thing I mentioned is at beta, the ADS basically made some weapons incredibly OP and some of the sighted weapons useless. Like the BR and the DMR were useless at beta, and the AR was so freaking powerful because now you have an assault rifle that has a scope. So it's basically having a full automatic BR. You were basically mowing down anybody who had another semi-automatic weapon. Because, I mean, it might not have been as accurate, but because it has such a faster fire rate, you were shooting so many bullets at them. Every time I tried to get a kill with it, I would just get annihilated by anybody with an AR. And now they turned it around. The BRs and the DMRs are now back on top of ARs, but the ARs are still very useful. They're a lot more useful than they've ever been before. I can't name another Halo game besides Halo 1 where the AR was a necessary weapon to have, or felt like a very useful weapon to have.
And it's just like if you pick up a Promethean weapon, those have some of the coolest. Like the light rifle probably has the coolest scope, and I mean it's just beautifully done, and they all feel very unique, and they're all cool. Nothing seems stupid, and they're all interesting. It makes you want to pick up every gun just to aim it to see what it does, because every gun's different. So it's very well done. Because if you play games like COD, where every weapon has the same scope, it gets kind of boring. But this is a very unique take on it. Everything's different because every gun is different, and even if you get into like comparing like the AR to the BR, those scopes are different. And if you compare like Covenant weapons, every scope is different. It doesn't matter if they come from the same race; they all have a different scope. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so is it like required almost that you use the ADS? Because I know a lot of people using Call of Duty,
No.
and if you're fighting from the hip, it doesn't really work as well. You know, you're just kind of.
No, they found a way. They found a way to make it so you're still using the same techniques you always did in Halo. So basically, scope is only good if an enemy is far away. But if you're trying to find an enemy that is up close to you and try and use ADS, you're doing too much. You got to shoot from the hip.
And in the most cases where like the AR and other guns don't have like an actual scope on them, it isn't like the way it works is almost you have a target dot on your screen, and when you aim it almost just enhances that a little bit. It's like a 2x scope. It isn't like it's a drastic change.
Okay.
Like the shotgun will just enhance a little bit, and the AR will enhance a little bit, and like the bullet shot will enhance a little bit, but it isn't overdone. Where where you lose a field of view, it enhances a little bit so you can see a little farther.
Well, one of the things I will say at beta is that the ADS looked really cool. Now it doesn't look the same way. It still looks cool, but I don't know, at beta they found a way to make a lot of things very fluid. And at beta the game was a lot faster. The pacing was so much faster. Sprint was faster, boost boost further.
That's the one thing is that the boost was very useful at beta, but now it's been so dumbed down that it's almost pointless to use in most cases.
And I heard a lot of people complaining about how fast it was at beta, because I don't know, Halo always seemed like a slower game, sort of.
I liked the fast pacing at beta, but the problem at beta was the fact that the maps weren't big enough for it. So if you ran out of health, you couldn't go and hide anywhere because your health doesn't recharge
when you're running.
And everybody else is running around. So if you stop for a second, somebody's going to come up behind you. They're going to kill you. So you had no time to recharge your health. You're basically stuck.
And now, like it was pretty fast at beta, but now they've made it so slow that it's almost worth getting rid of because, I mean, it doesn't do much. And the jump pack, they pretty much completely got rid of the jump pack. It doesn't do much anymore. And the one thing that's kind of annoying now is, like, I guess it's cool that you can climb things, but it isn't like an auto climb where if you jump towards a ledge, it'll climb you up. You have to tap the button again, which is kind of annoying because if you boost and then press a button, you won't all the time climb that ledge. You'll just fall down.
Right. Actually, you're supposed to hold the A button down, but if you do use boost, that's when it gets to be a problem. So if you're trying to make a ledge that's just a little too far, you use boost. You got to be a little bit faster about hitting that A button, or else that's when it's hard to use.
The one thing that's really holding this game up is the multiplayer. It's probably the funnest multiplayer of any Halo game so far. Like, Warzone is probably the funnest game type in any Halo game I've played. The maps are massive, and you get rec points, and then you can request anything you want. So you can get a Wraith when you get enough points, or a Scorpion, or you can request any vehicle if you have the rec cards that correspond with it, of course. But I mean, it's cool because you can play in this map. Once you get enough points by getting kills, you can request any vehicle you want, so you don't have to wait for things to spawn, which is kind of cool.
And in a way, that's also one of the problems with Halo 5 is the fact that there are microtransactions in the game and also pay to win. If you can buy rec packs with real money instead of earning points in the game to unlock them. So if you're a person who doesn't mind spending all their money, if you're king of the sweaty nerds, you're going to buy as many rec packs as possible. You're going to buy a lot of the gold, and the gold is what gives you all the best weapons. So if you have a ton of those, you're basically now paying to win. So
the one nice thing though is it doesn't take you like forever to earn points to unlock in the game. Like, you can spend your $3.99 right now, or you can hop on and play like 3 or 4 games of Warzone, and you have enough points anyway. So
okay, so is the DLC paid? I mean, can you earn like points in game and then spend it on the downloadable content?
Yeah. So every match, depending on how you do, you earn a certain amount of I think it's rec points, or what they're called, and you can buy packs. Like, I think the silver pack or the bronze pack is like 2,000. The silver pack's around 6,000. The gold pack's 10,000.
So you don't need to. So what I'm hearing is you don't need to pay anything.
You don't have to pay. You can earn points, but I mean, if you want the stuff right now, you can pay, or you can play 3 or 4 games and get it.
I like that. You know, personally,
I always go for gold. So whenever you can earn so many points in each game. So you play, like Mitch said, you play 2 or 3 games, you get enough points to get a gold pack. So I always get the gold packs anyway. I just play for a little bit because I already have a shit ton of rec cards already. I'm not going to be running out anytime soon. I mean, there are some that I've already run out of, but those are rarer cards to get. Like my Wraith, I only had 1 Wraith, so I only had that in 1 game. And one of the things is, when you use a rec card, you only have that for some of the rec cards. You only have that for that life. Once you die, you don't get that weapon again. It now fell somewhere on the map, so now anybody can come up and pick that up. So there are sometimes you get your points, and you'll go to the rec station, you'll get your thing, and then you walk out of the base and you get shot, and somebody comes up, picks up your weapon, so you only have that for like maybe 30 seconds.
Isn't that where the rec certifications come in, where if you get a rec cert, then you can keep it after you die?
Yeah, but that's only for certain things, though. It's not for everything. Like, obviously, the rarer stuff, the legendary weapons.
You keep those, yeah.
The power weapons, you can't get a certification on those, I believe. I don't believe you can. You know,
like, I've gone into the matches, and I haven't paid for a single, other than the monster I just bought today, I haven't paid for a single rec pack yet.
Yeah.
And, you don't notice an unfair advantage yet. It's still balanced. It's not like people, because it's kind of random, so some people can get a good weapon, but even those better weapons aren't so much better that it's unfair. They'll have special, like, elemental abilities, some of them will, and they're cool, and it makes it interesting because you want to keep playing. And I like that you can still earn the packs without paying. So you play a couple matches, you get a rec pack, you play a couple matches, you get another one. So it's not like you're really far behind as somebody else.
Yeah, like Mitch has been playing a lot more of Warzone. I play Breakout. That's my go-to. It still is. It was at beta. I love Breakout so much. It feels very sporty-ish, but also got that Halo spin that I really like.
Yeah, I love looking at Breakout. It looks awesome because you have 1 life, and it's really small maps, close quarters. You got 2 minutes a match, and it's very much like a search and destroy aspect of Call of Duty, but it's way quicker.
It's small paintball style kind of maps. It feels like you're on an airsoft or paintball map.
It's really cool because you run in and it launches you. It like grab lifts you into the match, so you hit the ground running and you're ready to go. And it's not like a slow where you have to sprint up to get to the action. You're launched right in the action.
That's the 4-on-4 matches I've been seeing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There's a couple of those up on our channel. I think Matt put 1 or 2 up.
I I have 3 videos of Breakout. One of them is this match where our team got completely annihilated. We didn't win a single match.
And one of them was where you kept
minutes.
teabagging. You kept teabagging one of them, and they kept killing you. And every time you teabagged.
No, there was one video where I got a whole bunch of kills, and I thought I got the final kill. So I went up and teabagged him, but somebody came up right behind me and killed me. I basically screwed us for the next 2 rounds. We won the game, but I went up and I teabagged him because I thought he was the final kill. Because I went up and I shot a whole bunch of guys, but there was still one guy left, and I thought I had got him. I don't know. I wasn't thinking or anything. But there are some things they added to Breakout I absolutely hate now. Now it's capture the flag, basically. So there is a flag on the map. If you take it to the other end of the map, you win the match. And I hate that. And they also added active camo. And active camo has never looked any better. Looked any better. You don't see the people anymore. Now
no. Like, even when they're moving, you can barely see anybody in active camo. Like, before, when you moved, it would show the outline, but that's barely even there anymore. Like, if you have active camo, pretty much nobody can see you.
Yeah, it's the best it's ever been, but at the same time, you're kind of pissed off about it because if you have active camo on in Breakout, there's no shield. Nobody has shields. You can go around and be one guy and annihilate their whole team because there's active camo on the map. I hate it. You need Breakout a little bit worse for me. It's not as fun because active camo's there and also capture the flag is in it. I hate it.
And like this game got back to the roots of Halo where the campaign's alright, it's fun, played a couple times, play with friends, whatever. But really you're there for the multiplayer, and they've gotten back to that where Halo 4 was kind of different. They focused more on the story, which I loved about the game because I'm always into games for a good story. But this multiplayer is fun. It feels revitalized. Halo 4's was kind of, a lot of people don't like it, but this feels very revitalized, and it's new, it's unique, it's fast-paced, a lot of changes. And at first, I didn't like the idea of the weapon variants and the rec packs and the microtransactions, but after playing it for a while, I don't notice any unfair advantages. It's kind of cool how they've added all these variants. It's fun to finally get one and check it out in the game and stuff. So
I think that's one of the plus sides, though, because at first everybody didn't like the fact that they were adding so many incredible weapons to the game, like legendary weapons and weapon variants, that they would think that you get into a map, you have the basic weapon, and there's just 1 or 2 guys on the map that have the best weapons, and they're getting all the kills. Because there's so much variety, and it makes it so easy to get those weapons, you might have one weapon that's good at one thing, and that guy has one that's good at another, but that's where his strengths are. His weaknesses are where your strengths are. So,
yeah, and just because you have a good weapon doesn't mean that they're good as a player, right? So you can still kill them with a basic weapon.
Right.
I mean, you don't notice a difference when you go in there. Even if somebody kills you with a better weapon, it's probably just because you messed up. You don't think, like, oh, that's because he has a better weapon than me. You don't even notice half the time that they have a better weapon.
Right, yeah. And I have yet to get a legendary weapon. It's apparently really... No, actually, no, that's wrong. I have gotten one legendary weapon, and that was the legendary version of the Saw, which I didn't notice much of a difference to it. I felt like it had a faster fire rate, maybe.
Yeah, I haven't got one yet, but I picked some up, and, like, it's cool. I picked up this BR, and I had this awesome scope and cool camo, and it looks sweet. I like the camo idea that they added. Like, that's cool. And, the one thing I didn't like is it seems like it's really hard to get armor in this game because I barely ever get any armor.
You gotta get, the only way that you can really get good armor is get a gold pack. If you get a gold pack, you're almost guaranteed you're going to get a piece of armor.
But, like, it's cool. I don't know. It just feels like, because there's so many armor variety. Like there's over 220 different kind of helmets you can get, and it just seems like it'll take forever to get all of those, But
I'm trying to get the Athlon armor. I really want the fucking Athlon armor so bad. It's the most different armor in the game. It's the sporty football type of armor.
The one thing I didn't like is the rec bundle you buy doesn't guarantee you anything, so you can spend $30 on it and you can open it and get shit.
Yeah, that is true though.
Because it's all random.
Like, I work at... No, never mind. I'm not going to talk about that. But anyway.
I was hoping that in the rec bundle they would throw in, like, a guaranteed rare or very rare or legendary weapon. So at least it was worth it. But you can open... Like, I opened mine. I didn't even get anything that good.
Right. I found out actually how the Warzone rec bundle works. You get 14 packs, but you only get 1 a week. So you're getting, like... And they're premium packs, so I don't know exactly what that means.
Oh, so next week you get another one?
Yeah, you get them for 14 weeks. You have
Oh, I thought you just got one, and it was stupid. I was like, why was that $30? But I didn't spend the $30 on it because I got the LCE. But whatever.
You get 14 packs, and they're premium packs, so you get one a week.
I guess that's a good idea because that'll keep you playing for 14 weeks.
I mean, if you're into that.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys probably got the Xbox One for Halo 5. I'd say I got the Wii U mostly for Smash. What does this like solidify your purchase? Does this make you happy that you got an Xbox One?
Multiplayer. There are other games on Xbox One that I'm happier with playing, like Metal Gear Solid 5. I like a lot more, but that is for PS4. Now Halo 5 is out now. I'm okay with it. I do really like it. It doesn't make me say, "God damn it, I hate this. I can't believe I got an Xbox One." No, I'm glad I did because I got to play the new Halo game and the multiplayer is fantastic. I do plan on playing it for quite a bit longer. But another reason why I might stop playing is because the tier ranking system is the most arbitrary garbage I've ever seen.
So don't you have to play a certain amount of matches in?
You get put into a class, and basically it works like this. You can decrease in class but here's the thing: the only way you can decrease and increase is by winning and losing matches. So, and that's your team. It's not based on your. So
your individual skill doesn't matter.
Your individual skill means jack shit. So anyway, individual rank doesn't do anything for you anymore. So SR, whatever the fuck you are, it doesn't do anything because you don't earn anything with rank.
They realized they got rid of they got rid of the sergeant and the captain and the general. And
they got rid of that. That was there at beta. All the individual ranks.
Which was the coolest part of Halo was that you individually could rank up and you'd be like, yeah, well, I'm a general, whatever. So you suck, fucking.
Yeah, I'm SR 11 right now, and honestly, I couldn't give a shit if I was SR 1 or SR fucking 50. It doesn't mean anything.
I don't see why they would get rid of that.
What?
I don't understand why they would get rid of the individual ranking aspect of the game.
It's a lot stupid. Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier. It'd be so much better if you could have an actual rank, like you're playing against somebody who's a general. Although you can't with the tier ranking system. So, like for me, I'm in Gold Tier 1, and a lot of the times, now I kick ass in Gold Tier 1, but as soon as I go up to Gold Tier 2, which I always do because I do so well in Gold Tier 1, I rank up to it. But as soon as I get into Gold Tier 2, I always get my ass kicked. There are so much more better players in Gold Tier 2 than me, so I always decrease back to Gold Tier 1, and then I kick ass and go back up to 2.
I guess that's
I've been doing that a lot.
I guess that's different. It isn't necessarily bad, because I guess you can stay with where you can be good, but it also gets rid of a lot of like the competitive drive to try and get better.
I don't really like it all that much because it makes me feel like my individual skill doesn't fucking matter anymore because it now depends on the skill of the entire team. But here's the thing: you're not going to stick with the same team throughout the entirety of Halo. You're with a random team every single time, so you might be with a team that sucks once and then amazing another time. What the fuck is that? It's arbitrary as shit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the one thing that I will say I absolutely hate about Halo 5 is
Now, I wouldn't say that I got an Xbox One for Halo 5. I got an Xbox One because I wanted one.
Okay.
And then Halo 5 has... I mean, Halo 5 was one of the games I was most excited for because I love Halo my whole life, and it's made the Xbox One worth it. It's awesome. I love it. I even... there's things I don't like about it, but I'm still going to play it because it's Halo and I love Halo, and I'm going to play it as long as I can because it's Halo and that's just how I am. Now, the one thing that hopefully will solidify the reason why I bought an Xbox One, and this isn't Halo related, but obviously Fallout 4, I don't want to touch too much on that, but that's a reason why a lot of people have been getting Xbox Ones lately.
Okay, so is that a multiplat or is that exclusive to the Xbox? Because
I think that's multi because it's on PC.
Okay.
Is it on PS4? I thought Fallout 4 was also on PlayStation 4 as well.
I don't know. I don't pay enough attention to PS4. Yeah, I would assume so. Because Bethesda's made multi-plat games, but I don't. Has anything ever been on PS4 that's maybe Bethesda? Was Skyrim on PS3?
No, it wasn't actually.
Skyrim? Thought it was.
Yeah. I have no idea. I can look it up, but I don't.
Yeah, no, Fallout 4 is on PlayStation 4.
Okay, well, I mean, it makes sense to make money, but yeah, that's one of the reasons. I mean, obviously, Halo 5 was a reason to get an Xbox One, and
I'd say it's the reason this holiday season. You know, it's their big game.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So would you recommend it to somebody if they're like, oh, I'm looking to get an Xbox this holiday, you know?
Oh, I've been recommending Halo 5 to everybody just because I want to get all my friends to hop on Halo 5 and play with me. Because, you know, Halo 5 is fun to play on your own, but nothing's better than getting your group of friends together, hopping on Xbox Live, going to a party and playing Halo 5 and just having fun and messing around, you know? And Warzone really builds on that because it's such a massive game that you're in, so you can get your group of friends and you can all go around in a squad and get vehicles and just have fun and mess around like Halo's always been.
Yeah, I think the two biggest competitors this season is going to be Halo 4 and Battlefront for multiplayer, because Fallout 4 doesn't have a multiplayer, but or at least I don't believe it does. But Halo 4 and Battlefront are going to.
This is kind of off topic a little bit, but did you guys see the one? You've probably seen it, Matt, because I know that you stay up with this, but I didn't never really heard of it. But I just watched the video of like the unreleased footage of Time Splitter's version of Battlefront before it got scrapped after DICE picked it up.
Yeah, I've seen some of the footage.
No, I don't believe I actually have actually.
Just look up Battlefront 3 Time Splitter.
Yeah, because the new Battlefront game isn't actually called Battlefront 3.
Yeah, it's called Battlefront, EA Battlefront, but
yeah, Battlefront 3 is a completely different game that was scrapped, you know.
Yeah, and if you just watch the first 5 minutes of like Battlefront itself is great, it's fun, it's insane. It makes it makes Star Wars awesome. It's right there. You got AT-AT walkers around you, Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker. It's all great. But the game that they were going to make with Battlefront 3 goes a completely different direction than what EA Battlefront was, or what EA Battlefront did. If you watch that game, they incorporate way different aspects, and a lot of people are saying it's the one that, if you were a true Battlefront fan, that's the game that you would have wanted.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at the new Battlefront, I see a very shallow kind of experience. You know, it's kind of just what we've seen already from Battlefield. And I know that's what DICE does best, but I feel like what Battlefront 2 did was it had all of these different modes. It had, Galactic Conquest. You know, it had, the online stuff and the hero battles and space battles. You know, had all this stuff from the different. Well,
movies. there is hero battles in Battlefront. That actually is in it. But the only thing that's really missing from it that really mattered from the other Battlefront games is just space battles. But
if you watch the Time Splitters video, that's one of the first things that you see is that a guy hops in I think a Y-wing or maybe an X-wing and just flies around in space.
That's something that I'm really gonna miss. On the original PS2, man, or not the original PS2, but the PS2, you could hop into a freaking X-wing and just fly around. That's not something I can, that I'm seeing you can do in Battlefront.
You can get in a vehicle in this game. There's just no space battles. There are Y-wings, A-wings, X-wings, TIE fighters.
All the flying vehicles are there, but you can't leave. Like you can't go you can fly above the battle below you. Which I know that they're trying to keep all the action in one space because they want people splitting off. But they still could have done just an exclusive space battle fight where you were just dogfighting.
Well, with Battlefront 2, there were two bases, or two Star Destroyers, and you went from one to the other. There was battles going on in space, and then there was battles going on in the space or the Star Destroyers. That's something that I really liked about Battlefront. That was on PS2. It was on Xbox. We're talking 2 generations ago. So
right, Eugene, but you would have had to have played the beta. I mean, once you play the beta, you have such a different feel of Battlefront than you did before. I mean, I was so blown away by the Battlefront beta. And
I loved it.
The game looks fantastic. I can't, obviously, I can't deny that.
It's never felt.
Not just that. It's just feels right. It feels like Star Wars in a video game. The most like what you got with like the Star Wars original trilogy, like the most undescribable, purest movie. I get that feeling from Battlefront. It feels like it has its own identity. It feels like Star Wars.
And the one difference is that it's never felt so real. Like it feels like a real war. Like it's gotten rid of a lot of that like fantasy aspect. Like the way that it feels like a real war. Like this could be happening somewhere right now in our time. Like it feels realistic. It feels like the battlefields when you play them. It feels like you're right in that war. And Battlefront feels the same way. Like stuff's exploding, people are dying, people are flying. It feels realistic.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a So Battlefront, that's a great game. But we were supposed to be talking about Halo 5, and we were talking about how their multiplayer is what's going. Halo 5 and Battlefront's multiplayer is what's going to go head to head. But ultimately, I think Battlefront's going to be the bigger game because it doesn't have as many. I don't think it's going to have as many flaws. Hopefully, and because of how it is. Yeah, you would have had to play the betas for both games to really understand how big it's going to be. But the only reason I say they're going to go head-to-head is because they're the two biggest multiplayer games that are coming out for this holiday season. Plus, Warzone, that is such a massive scope in multiplayer. And in Battlefront's multiplayer, it's the same way. It's such a massive scope. You have huge maps with so many people.
All right, I'm just going to have this last question before we hit the hour mark. In terms of the holiday season and in terms of dollars made, which one do you think is going to be the biggest title? Halo 5, Battlefront?
Yeah, I'd say Battlefront.
Or I have a third one, or Fallout 4.
Battlefront.
Yeah, I'd say
Battlefront. Dollar
Battlefront.
made, Battlefront?
Just because of the name Star Wars is there, they're going to sell millions upon millions immediately.
Because I think it's because of how good that beta was and how stunning it does look, and it's also getting that extra hype from the Force Awakens.
Yeah, Force Awakens.
Force Awakens broke records already, but not by like double or just by like 10%. Star Wars: The Force Awakens broke the record on AMC for pre-sale tickets by 10 times, Fandango by 8 times. So you're getting 800% more pre-sale on their website, 1,000% more pre-sales on AMC Theaters' website, and it crashed their servers. When was the last time you ever heard of a server crashing for such a long period of time?
Yeah, it took a whole day.
The amount of hype for the movie is undoubtable. I mean, that movie's going to do very well.
I remember when the Harry Potters were out, and those were a big deal. And I remember I think it was part 1 of the 7th movie. I didn't have tickets, and I wanted to see it. My brother and I were going to go to it. And we didn't have tickets that night, and we were still able to go on and get 2 tickets without a problem. And I remember trying to get Force Awakens tickets 10 minutes after the trailer launched, or the trailer was shown on Monday Night Football, and all of the websites already crashed. Like, you couldn't get a ticket 10 minutes after. And luckily, the next day, I was able to get tickets by some miraculous odds. I don't know how, but 10 minutes after, I thought it would be before everybody else, and it was already crashed. You couldn't do anything, and I spent 2 hours trying to get tickets. I was on the phone with Matt, I think, the whole time, and we were trying to get tickets, and he couldn't because all of them were crashed, and nothing would load. And even if you got to the final screen, you couldn't even. It wouldn't accept any of your credit card information trying to buy the tickets because it was completely down.
Yeah, like. We're probably now Mitch, Jacob, and I. We all got tickets to the same showing for the Thursday night of a 7:30 Thursday night showing of Star Wars: The Force Awakens. But we're probably going to have to go like an hour, maybe hour and a half before we can get seats next to each other that are actually decent.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Even sooner than that. I have to go 2 hours early. I want to get good seats, or at least together.
Yeah.
It would be insane.
But I did end up getting some really good seats. They're for the Sunday night showing of Sunday at 6 showing of the IMAX 3D, all next to each other because it's seated.
I remember when I went in to get my ticket the day that I bought it on the next day. When I went into celebration or local celebration, the guy told me they already sold at our local celebration 1,000 tickets, which may not seem like much. But for a local celebration on one movie, that's a lot of tickets to sell.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. But anyway, we're about to hit the hour mark, and we basically went over everything we were going to talk about. We went over Star Wars Battlefront and Halo 5. So why don't we just cut it right about now?
All right. But we didn't talk about the trailer too much, about the content in the trailer. How'd you guys feel about that?
The trailer. I thought the trailer was really, really good, but I've always felt about the Force Awakens trailers that we've had that they didn't give me as much as I wanted. I felt a little underwhelmed. I'm not saying that it didn't look amazing, but it underwhelming compared to what I was expecting to see or what I wanted to see. But ultimately, still amazing trailers.
Yeah.
So that.
I'm glad they're going back to the original, the roots of Star Wars, and they're kind of staying a little bit farther away from the prequel stuff. It really does just feel like what Star Wars should have been for the prequels.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if like I showed my dad the beta, and when he was a kid, I think he was around 18 or 19 when the first movie came out, and I think he said he saw it like 10 times. So he's a huge Star Wars fan of the original trilogies, and when he saw it, he couldn't believe it. I mean, it blew him away. So I think that this draws on the nostalgia very well. It puts you right where you've always wanted to be, running just below the Adawalkers, looking at them, stuff's blowing up. It puts you right where you've always wanted to be, where you imagine yourself when you watch these movies. So it really draws hard on that nostalgia feel.
Yeah, I mean, for what this Battlefront game is doing, it really is doing it incredibly well, and I've never seen anything like it. Of course, there is nothing like it. In terms of graphics, Battlefront 2 doesn't touch this game.
Yeah,
and I mean, when you talk about, like, yes, of course there's going to be things wrong with the games, and developers can't do everything, but if you look at it, Battlefront as a whole, it does a very good job of what it should be doing. It does everything right. I mean, there's some things they left out, and that may make people upset, but regardless, you're going to play the crap out of the game and love it because it's Star Wars, and it does a great job at being Star Wars.
Yeah, most of the reason I'm kind of going to stay away from it is mostly the $50, I guess, season pass that they're doing, that they announced before the game even is even released. I wouldn't have an issue with it if it was after the game, like a couple months after the game came out. But yeah, I mean, I don't really agree with it.
Well, EA is really notorious for that kind of thing, and they're always doing that kind of stuff. And I don't understand why, because it's not like they're a small-time developer. EA is humongous, and there's no need for them to make that much money. They make so much money as it is anyway.
Yeah, I feel like they didn't have to do that. I might get it.
But of course they're going to do it because they know it's Star Wars and they can say whatever amount of money they want, and most people are going to pay it because they want to play.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know. They're not going to make you pay for like an online pass, are they?
There's
a season pass, $50. And you get everything apparently. So.
All right, but you're not going to like. They're not adopting like the Battlefield thing where if you want to play a match, you have to buy a dedicated server, are they?
I no idea.
Have they talked about that? Because like in the Battlefield games, like you can get into some matches, but if you really wanted to play online in that game, you have to buy a dedicated server, or else you're never going to get on.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Hopefully they don't do that because that'll piss me off.
Some things they have talked about is there's no voice chat in the game. Of course, you can set up Skype call or something.
There is no voice chat, and
there is no voice chat, which is crazy enough. I'm gonna be honest with you. Wait a minute. The PS2 game had online gameplay and voice chat. That's crazy, and that's something.
Yeah.
My mind, it just blows my mind. The PS2, man.
I don't know why they didn't put that in there. Maybe they didn't want to deal with people talking crap to each other and getting a bunch of complaints about it. Because if there was voice chat, damn well I'd be in there talking so much shit to every single person, because that's the funnest thing to do. I mean, they didn't want to have to deal with the community, aspect of people harassing other people or whatever. Maybe they just got lazy and didn't want to have to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to love the game, but every single time I hear something new about it or just hear some of the stuff they're doing with it, it makes me kind of just a little angry. But that's pretty much it for me. Anything else about
Yeah,
Halo?
I'm probably gonna head out here. I got some homework to do.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, yeah. It's time we kind of sign out real quick. Okay, so Eugene, take it away.
All right, this has been the Beef Brigade Gamers Podcast number 5. We're gonna have a review of Halo 5 up soon, I guess, eventually.
Yeah, I just got to beat the last mission and then we're gonna do it.
All right, Mitch. How about this weekend? You good for Saturday night, Sunday? What day?
I could maybe do like Saturday, like midday time. Would that work? Or are you working?
I work on Saturday. I get out like late.
Might be able to figure out some time on the weekend. I'm not sure. We'll have to. Might be able to squeeze something in at some point.
Yeah, we'll have to do that because I really want to do it.
I could do like Saturday night late because I work till 11, but I can come over and do it after if you want. I don't know if I'm gonna do that late or not. But
All right. Okay. All right. So my name is Matthew, founder of Beef Brigade Studios. Remember, you can find all the mission gameplay footage of Halo 5 on Beef Brigade Studios YouTube channel. You can also find gameplay footage of multiplayer on Halo 5, and we're obviously going to be showing, doing a lot of gameplay from upcoming titles. I also am going to be playing a lot more of Witcher 3 now that I have time to do that as well. Fallout 4, going to be doing that. I'm not doing Call of Duty because I'm done with Call of Duty now. And Battlefront, obviously. So there we go.
Mitch Extrand, I make awesome commentary on all our videos. You should check them out. Make a lot of good jokes.
Oh, yeah.
You got to listen through those. You'll find some of my amazing jokes.
Yeah,
also,
yeah.
I plan on hopefully getting some sort of capture card at some point. And then once I do that, I'll put up some commentary videos of probably mostly Fallout 4. Probably not taking it too seriously. You got to mess around. Maybe do some weapon finding things if I can figure it out. Just enjoying the game, showing it off, whatever. And I'll do Halo 5 multiplayer if I get it in time while it's still relevant. And definitely Battlefront for sure.
Let me just say this real quick. The first mission that we play of Halo 5 in our gameplay footage, like literally the first mission is just everybody just fucking around in the background, and Jacob just comes up and just starts screaming in the mic like,
yeah, we were freaking out. So the first 5 missions that we did are not very serious, but if you want to watch the game and hear stupid stuff, check those out for sure.
Yeah, and we sing in like mission 3 or 4. We just start.
Oh yeah, we sing a lot. There's a lot of songs. There's a lot of very awesome Loader references. We talk a lot of shit to Governor Sloan. If you want to hear that, we kind of demoralize him as a person. So check all those out. We do a lot of messing around.
All right.
All right. Peace out, guys.
Yep. See you later, Mitch.
All right. This has been AceTechHD. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and see you guys later.